Today's workbench rant is about a problem that you may not be aware that you have. If you live in Waco or parts of Waco, there's a problem, like I said, that you might have that you're not aware of. I only became aware of it because of some searching for a shipment that didn't show up on time. Have you ever noticed that there are days where you don't get mail? Do you ever give it a second thought? Like many people, you probably don't. You just expect that some of that spam mail, junk mail, just didn't make it to you that day. Maybe you even heave a sigh of relief at seeing your empty mailbox. A few weeks ago, I noticed my mailbox was empty, but I was expecting a package to be delivered. I was watching the tracking for it, and it wasn't here. The tracking for it showed a note from the postal carrier, and it said, "Animal interference." I was a bit perplexed about this because I don't have any animals. I have no pets in the yard at all. And I've even confronted delivery guys at the gate, and I've said, "Hey, you're leaving packages by the front gate in plain view of everybody, placing them at risk of getting taken, not even by a porch pirate, but by somebody just walking by. It's by the sidewalk, just a few feet from a public street. I don't live in a cul-de-sac. It's not a gated community. It's just a public street. I don't like my packages being left by the front gate, right by the curb, essentially." When I confronted a delivery guy about this, he said, "Well, you have a fenced-in yard. We presume it means you have a pet in the yard, an animal." I said, "No, I don't have any animals." The gate was put up to prevent strays from entering the yard. I had a problem with a lot of random stray defecation from dogs, so I wanted to put an end to that. That's why the fence is there. If I had a pet or a dog in the yard, I would put up a "Beware of Dog" sign, but that's not the case. So I told him I expect the packages to be brought to the porch by the front door, where there are plenty of places to camouflage, tuck it away out of plain sight. So that should have been enough, but I have to tell this to every postal carrier, every UPS, FedEx. There was animal interference that kept my package from being delivered on time. I went to go look for it at Highlander Station. Now this place has some problems of its own. First of all, they don't answer their phone. I walked in with my cell phone, dialing into their office with it ringing, and I asked, "Hey, I'm calling you guys. Is there anybody in the office to answer?" Now this was a Saturday because I work Monday through Friday. And I went in Saturday morning when they opened at 10 o'clock. The guy at the desk was kind of oblivious. He was like, what phone? What's that? And I explained I was trying to reach them. I've been trying to reach them for days. So I resorted to actually showing up in person to ask about this. So he brings out a supervisor. The supervisor kind of looks like the God character from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This guy. Big beard. And I almost expected him to say, "Arthur, King of the Britons." Anyway, I asked him about the phone, and he said, "Well, there was a fire a couple of years ago, and ever since then, the phones haven't been quite right." So your phones don't ring. Again, like some people, when you don't get mail, you think, "Oh, what a relief. There's no junk mail to sort through. No bills." These guys just presume, "Oh, the phone's not ringing. We must be doing a great job. The public, nobody wants to bother us." So I had to inform them that it was otherwise, that I was having trouble getting my mail, that this animal interference business was a problem. The clerk, whom I confronted initially, said, "Well, you don't want your mailman getting bitten by a dog now, do you?" Well, no, I don't want anybody getting bitten or attacked or assaulted by a dog. What I do want is my mail. That's the point of this message. It's the point of my visits to them. It's the point of my phone calls that they can't receive. This stuff just doesn't filter through. And I asked them, well, what are you doing about the dog problem, this stray animal issue? Now, let me point out something else. A few years ago, I worked as temporary help for UPS, the United Parcel Service, as a helper for a driver. And often, we would get sent out to rural areas where people let their dogs run freely. These are large houses, large pieces of property, an acre or two, and dogs would be running loose. Here I am walking up a long driveway, 3 or 4 dogs run up to me. Some of them, massive, some tiny, some voicing approval, some sounding aggressive. Yet I kept on walking towards the garage or wherever I could get to. Just if I saw somebody at the open garage, I'd approach them there. And I'd say, wow, you sure do have a lot of dogs. I delivered my packages. Rather than turn around and run away, I accepted that my job involved delivering packages. And I didn't let the presence of some animals detract me from that. And I never got attacked or bitten, or nothing like that ever happened. So I'm not suggesting these postal carriers need to confront real danger, but they should also accept that there are aspects of the job that involve some encounters with animals. But these guys, rather than stay on mission, will turn around and simply not deliver their packages. And this happens day after day. And the God guy from Monty Python informed me that there is a neighborhood in Waco, in the area that his station serves. He didn't say exactly what street this was, but he said there's at least a full block that is overrun with stray animals to where the postal carrier will get cornered or have to climb on top of a vehicle to escape attack. Now that's nonsense. Now why is this happening? Why within the city limits of Waco, Texas is this happening? Is this allowed to go on? Why isn't the Postal Service doing something about it? Why aren't they contacting animal control? So I'm contacting animal control. I'm trying to do something about it. And when you contact animal control, the animal control officers in Waco, Texas. Now, maybe you've seen TV shows or cartoons where there's a dog catcher on the prowl. He's looking for any excuse to grab your dog. If it steps out of line, if it's out of the yard, if it puts 1 foot out of the yard, he wants to grab it. That's pure fantasy. That's not happening here. These animal control officers think that they are cops. And when I say that, I mean cops that are allowing bureaucracy and policies to keep them from doing their job, or rather allow them to shirk responsibility. This just happened a few weeks ago, or recently my neighbor contacted me about an abandoned vehicle behind her house, like right behind her house at the gate, at the alley. She was concerned that it was stolen, or there might be a dead body inside, or any number of things. When she contacted the cops, they wanted a lot of information, just like with animal control. So you can't just call animal control and say, hey, we've got stray dogs in my neighborhood. I live at this address, I'm at this intersection. Can you fan out? I see them on my way to and from work. When I'm on the way to work, I don't always have time to fiddle with my phone, look up the phone number, and contact you guys and give a description, a photograph, a location. The long and short of it is that animal control wants to sit behind bureaucracy and policies to make it difficult for you, the public, the citizen, to get things done. In this case, it's alleviating stray dogs in the name of getting these postal workers to do their job. They're looking for any excuse at all to not deliver your mail so they can go back into the get back in the truck, haul everything back for the next carrier. So our task as citizens of this town is to get these groups back to work. How do we do that? I have tried reaching out to animal control, and I just can't make any headway. I think the person I've been talking to lately is this Martinez person. Here's a sample of an email. She's very good at closing cases that come through the app for her and her department to work on. Animal control in this town does something called neuter tag and release, or spay tag and release, NTR, something like that. If you happen to trap an animal like I have, I've been trying to get the stray cat problem alleviated around me, but I'll trap them, turn them in to be collected, and then I'm finding them trapped again. I'm trapping the same cat over and over again. And I called and I wrote to them and said, what's up with this? I keep trapping the same animal. And they said, well, we've already neutered the animal and we released them back into the neighborhood where we picked them up. Well, that's asinine too. So if it's a dog, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pick up the stray dog and you're going to neuter it and release it so that it can still harass the postal carrier. That doesn't make any sense either. You need to keep these animals off the street because they're interfering with things, and they're damaging property, or they have great potential to damage property. And they're a nuisance because stray cats harass the dogs that are in their yards, and so they're barking and howling at all hours of the night. If it's a nice enough evening, I'll have my window open and turn off the air conditioning, and I can hear all the barking going on. What we need to do is push the city of Waco, the management, to extend the hours for animal control, not just 8 to 5, because the stray animals aren't sticking to a clock. They're not punching a time clock and saying, oh, it's time to stop being a nuisance. It's time to stop harassing postal carriers. They need to come in probably around 6 a.m. and stick around answering calls, addressing issues till 8 p.m., probably near sunset, when the animals might be coming home to roost or whatever it is that they do. Something like that, not just 8 to 5. If you're an animal control officer, you need to be on the job from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Take some of the money from the police budget. Waco cops get $41 million a year annual budget. And what do we get for that? We get a lot of coffee and donuts consumed, and it's always extra. It's always money, like there always has to be a grant for them to actually enforce any laws. What's kind of sad and unusual here is that my father was a Waco cop for a couple of decades. I tell him the trouble I'm having getting work done around here, and he just echoes what the cops have told me, that, we've got other things to do. You can't possibly expect us to answer calls from the public. I mean, for heaven's sake, we're civil servants. We've got a lot of skirts to chase. And if you don't have any large-breasted blondes in your neighborhood, well... So what I'm asking of you, as the viewer, as the concerned citizen, as a resident of this area, is to help adjust this problem by contacting city staff, staying on the phone with them, or meeting them in person, wherever they are, and getting them to adjust this problem. Getting animal control on the job, alleviating this excuse that the postal carriers will use to not deliver your mail. They don't care about your mail. They don't care about those packages. They're looking for an excuse to not come to work, and animal control in this town is giving them that excuse. Let's put these people to work. And if they refuse to work, let's replace them with someone who will, or something that will do the job. Thanks for watching. Remember, transcend the bullshit.